The 1966 United States quarter-dollar coin occupies a unique place in American monetary history. Although it may appear ordinary at first glance, this coin represents one of the most important transitions in the history of American currency. The year 1966 came during a period of economic change, metal shortages, rising silver prices, and major reforms in the coinage system of the United States. The quarter produced in that year reflected the nation's attempt to solve a growing coin shortage while preserving confidence in everyday money. The 1966 quarter belongs to the famous Washington Quarter series. The coin carries the portrait of George Washington on the front and an eagle design on the reverse. While millions of Americans use these coins in daily life, collectors and historians later recognized the 1966 issue as a symbol of America's transition from precious metal coinage to modern copper-nickel-clad coinage. This history explains the background, design, production, economic significance, cultural meaning, and collector interest surrounding the 1966 quarter-dollar coin. Origins of the Washington Quarter. The history of the 1966 quarter begins decades earlier. Before the Washington Quarter existed, the United States quarter dollar featured the standing Liberty design, introduced in 1916. Although beautiful, the standing Liberty quarter experienced production difficulties and wear problems. By the early 1930s, the United States government sought a new design. In 1932, America celebrated the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, the first president of the United States. Congress approved a commemorative quarter featuring Washington's portrait. The sculptor John Flanagan created the winning design, and the new Washington quarter entered circulation in 1932. Flanagan's design became one of the most recognizable coins in American history. The front, known as the obverse, displayed a left-facing portrait of George Washington inspired by a sculpture by French artist Jean-Antoine Houdon. The reverse featured a heraldic eagle with spread wings perched on arrows and olive branches, symbolizing both military readiness and peace. The Washington Quarter was originally intended as a one-year commemorative issue. However, the public accepted the coin warmly, and the government decided to continue the design permanently. For more than 3 decades, Washington quarters were struck in 90% silver and 10% copper. These silver quarters circulated widely across the country and became a familiar part of American life. America's coin shortage crisis. By the early 1960s, the United States faced a major coin shortage. Several economic forces contributed to the crisis. First, the price of silver increased dramatically in world markets. Since quarters, dimes, and half-dollars contained real silver, many people realized that the metal value of the coins might soon exceed their face value. Citizens began hoarding silver coins instead of spending them. Second, vending machines, parking meters, laundromats, and other coin-operated businesses increased demand for small change. The United States Mint struggled to produce enough coins for circulation. Third, coin collectors removed large quantities of coins from circulation. Government officials believed collectors contributed to the shortage, although later historians argued that silver hoarding played a much larger role. The shortage became severe by 1963 and 1964. Banks rationed coins. Businesses struggled to make change. Americans became increasingly concerned about the stability of the nation's currency system. To solve the problem, Congress passed the Coinage Act of 1965. This law transformed American coinage forever. The Coinage Act of 1965. The Coinage Act of 1965 marked one of the greatest changes in United States monetary history. The law eliminated silver from circulating quarters and dimes and reduced silver content in half-dollars. Beginning in 1965, quarters would no longer contain 90% silver. Instead, they would be made from a copper core bonded between outer layers of copper and nickel. This composition became known as clad coinage. The new quarters looked similar to older silver quarters, but they were cheaper to produce and did not depend on precious metals. The government hoped that removing silver would discourage hoarding and increase coin circulation. The 1966 quarter was therefore part of the second year of the new clad coinage system. It symbolized the nation's transition into a modern industrial monetary system. Wikipedia +1. Design of the 1966 quarter. Although the metal composition changed, the design of the quarter remained mostly the same. The front side of the 1966 quarter displays George Washington facing left. Above his head appears the word Liberty. The national motto, "In God We Trust," is positioned to the left, while the date 1966 appears below. John Flanagan portrait presents Washington with a calm and dignified expression. The design reflects classical artistic traditions and portrays Washington as a symbol of leadership, stability, and national unity. Reverse design. The reverse side features a powerful eagle with wings spread wide. Beneath the eagle lies a bundle of arrows representing military strength. Olive branches underneath symbolize peace. Above the eagle appear the words United States of America, while E pluribus unum arches across the upper field. The denomination $quarter appears below. The reverse design remained in use until the bicentennial redesign of 1976. Composition and physical features. The 1966 quarter differs greatly from pre-1965 quarters because of its metallic composition. The coin contains outer layers, 75% copper and 25% nickel. Inner core, pure copper. The total composition equals approximately 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel. USA Coin Book +1. The coin weighs approximately 5.67 grams and measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter. Unlike silver quarters, the edge of the coin reveals a visible copper stripe. This visible copper edge became one of the easiest ways to distinguish clad quarters from older silver versions. Why the 1966 quarter has no mint mark. One of the most famous features of the 1966 quarter is the absence of a mint mark. Normally, United States coins display small letters indicating where they were produced. D for Denver, S for San Francisco. No mark traditionally indicated Philadelphia. However, from 1965 through 1967, the U.S. Mint temporarily removed mint marks from circulating coins. Officials believed collectors were hoarding coins from specific mints, worsening the coin shortage. As a result, all 1966 quarters were struck without mint marks regardless of where they were produced. Wikipedia +1. This policy remains one of the most unusual chapters in American coinage history. Production of the 1966 quarter. The United States Mint produced enormous quantities of quarters in 1966 to combat the national coin shortage. More than 821 million quarters were minted during the year. USA Coin Book +2. This massive production effort reflected the urgency of restoring coin circulation across the country. The Mint worked continuously to manufacture enough coins for banks, businesses, and consumers. Machines operated at high speed, and production standards were adjusted to increase output. Because so many 1966 quarters were made, the coin remains common today. Many examples still appear in circulation decades later. Special mint sets. No traditional proof coins were issued in 1966. Instead, the Mint produced special mint sets, often called SMS coins. These sets were created for collectors and featured coins with better quality than ordinary circulation strikes. The coins displayed sharper details and smoother surfaces, but were not true proofs. The 1966 Special Mint Set quarter became especially popular among collectors because of its attractive appearance and limited production compared to regular circulation coins. Some SMS quarters display cameo or deep cameo finishes, where frosted designs contrast with reflective backgrounds. High-grade examples can command strong prices in the collector market. Public reaction to the new clad coins. Americans initially reacted with mixed feelings to the removal of silver from quarters. Many citizens distrusted the new clad coins because they lacked intrinsic silver value. Older generations especially preferred silver coins, believing they represented real money. Some people saved silver quarters and spent only the new clad versions. This phenomenon followed the economic principle known as Gresham's law. Bad money drives good money out of circulation. Over time, however, Americans adapted to the new coins. The clad quarter eventually became accepted as normal everyday currency. The transition also reflected broader economic trends. As industrial economies expanded, governments increasingly relied on fiat currency rather than precious metals. Economic importance of the 1966 quarter. The 1966 quarter represents a turning point in the economic history of the United States. Before 1965, American circulating coinage possessed intrinsic precious metal value. After the introduction of clad coinage, coins became token currency backed primarily by government authority rather than metal content. This change allowed the government greater flexibility in monetary policy and reduced dependence on fluctuating silver prices. The success of the clad quarter also influenced future coinage reforms. The same copper-nickel composition remains standard for U.S. quarters today. Thus, the 1966 quarter symbolizes the modernization of American money. Collecting the 1966 quarter. Although the 1966 quarter is common, collectors continue to study and collect the coin for historical and educational reasons. Most circulated examples are worth only face value because of the extremely high mintage. However, coins in exceptional condition can be valuable. Collectors look for high-grade uncirculated specimens, special mint set examples, error coins, double dies, off-center strikes, transitional errors. Certain rare mint errors have sold for significant amounts at auction. Rare errors and varieties. The 1966 quarter became famous among error collectors because it was produced during a transitional period in U.S. minting history. Double die errors. Some 1966 quarters display doubled lettering, especially on the reverse inscriptions. These double dies occur when the coin die receives multiple impressions during production. Collectors examine words such as United States of America and quarter dollar for signs of doubling. 1966-quarter.com. Off-center strikes. Off-center coins occur when the blank planchet is improperly positioned during striking. Such coins may show missing portions of the design. Clipped planchets. A clipped planchet error results when the coin blank is improperly cut from metal sheets, leaving curved missing sections. Transitional silver errors. Extremely rare transitional errors may exist where a 1966 quarter was accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets from earlier years. These coins are considered major rarities and can sell for thousands of dollars. Reddit. The 1966 quarter in everyday American life. During the 1960s, the quarter held great importance in daily American culture. A quarter could purchase a soft drink, a newspaper, a bus fare, parking meter time, laundry machine use, telephone calls from payphones. Coin-operated machines dominated American urban life, making quarters essential for ordinary activities. The 1966 quarter circulated during a transformative period in American history marked by the Vietnam War, the Civil Rights Movement, the space race, social and cultural change, Millions of Americans carried these coins while living through one of the most dramatic decades of the 20th century. Symbolism of George Washington. The continued use of George Washington on the quarter reflected America's reverence for its first president. Washington symbolized national unity, leadership, integrity, democratic government, stability during times of change. During the uncertainty of the 1960s, Washington's image on the quarter provided continuity with America's founding traditions. The portrait reminded citizens of the nation's historical roots, even as the country underwent rapid modernization. The role of the Philadelphia Mint. Although the 1966 quarter lacks a mint mark, many were associated with the Philadelphia Mint, which served as the primary production center for U.S. coinage. The Philadelphia Mint had produced coins since the late 18th century and remained central to America's monetary system. During the coin shortage crisis, mint workers operated under intense pressure to increase production. The 1966 quarter reflects their massive industrial effort to stabilize the nation's currency supply. Numismatic interest today. Modern collectors appreciate the 1966 quarter for several reasons. It marks the early clad era. It represents a historic monetary transition. It carries the classic Washington design. It belongs to an important period in U.S. economic history. It offers interesting varieties and mint errors. Professional grading services evaluate these coins using the mint state scale from MS 60 to MS 70. High-grade examples with strong luster and minimal marks are especially desirable. Special mint set examples with deep cameo surfaces attract additional collector interest. Misconceptions about the 1966 quarter. Many people mistakenly believe all old quarters are silver. However, 1966 quarters contain no silver under normal production standards. 1966 quarter value +1. Another common misconception involves mint marks. Some people think a missing mint mark indicates rarity. In reality, all regular 1966 quarters were intentionally produced without mint marks. 1966-quarter.com +1. Because of internet rumors and exaggerated online listings, some ordinary circulated 1966 quarters are falsely advertised as rare treasures. Most examples remain common unless they possess exceptional condition or genuine mint errors. Lasting legacy of the 1966 quarter. The legacy of the 1966 quarter extends beyond coin collecting. This coin represents America's response to economic pressure, the end of circulating silver quarters, the modernization of U.S. currency, the industrial efficiency of the U.S. Mint, a major shift in monetary policy. The coin also demonstrates how everyday objects can become historical artifacts. What once served as ordinary pocket change now provides insight into economics, politics, technology, and culture during the 1960s. Comparison with earlier silver quarters. The difference between a 1964 silver quarter and a 1966 clad quarter illustrates one of the sharpest transitions in American coinage history. 1964 quarter. 90% silver. Higher intrinsic value. Hoarded heavily. 1966 quarter. Copper-nickel clad. Lower production cost. Designed for mass circulation. This transition changed public attitudes toward money. Earlier coins possessed both face value and metal value. Clad coins depended entirely on government backing. Influence on future coinage. The success of the clad quarter encouraged the United States Mint to continue producing clad coinage for future generations. Today's quarters still use the same basic copper-nickel structure introduced during the 1965 to 1966 transition. The 1966 quarter, therefore, stands at the beginning of the modern era of American coinage. Conclusion: The 1966 United States quarter-dollar coin is far more than an ordinary piece of pocket change. It represents a defining moment in American monetary history. Emerging during a national coin shortage and economic transition, the coin symbolized the nation's move away from precious metal currency and toward modern clad coinage. Its Washington design connected Americans to the country's founding heritage, while its copper-nickel composition reflected industrial modernization and changing economic realities. The absence of a mint mark, the huge production numbers, and the introduction of clad metal all reveal the extraordinary pressures facing the United States Mint during the mid-1960s. Today, collectors and historians study the 1966 quarter not only for its numismatic value, but also for what it teaches about American society, economics, and government policy during a transformative decade. Though millions were produced and many still circulate today, the 1966 quarter remains an important historical artifact. It tells the story of a nation adapting to economic challenges while preserving confidence in its currency system. In this way, the humble 1966 quarter continues to hold an honored place in the history of the United States of America.